Welcome to today's Summitcast. It's a nice cold evening as I'm recording this from the 3Dub Winning with the Word studio. Ready to bring you the word. Today is going to be a little different because I want to hear from you. I want to have an interactive little mini Bible study, and I'd like for you to post your answers to the question that I'm going to pose today. Okay, you ready? We'll try to make this quick. I've got my tea with me, and today's tea, boy, I tell you what, this is one of my favorites. This is Snow Geisha from Teavana combined with Silver Needle. Snow Geisha's got a hint of cherry in it. It's just delicious hot tea on a cold winter night in Indiana. But let's get right into it. In my Bible reading, I came across Genesis 37, 38, 39, and the story of Joseph in chapter 37 and chapter 39 mainly. And I wanted to get your thoughts. People that watch these Summitcasts, I've got a very astute, scholarly, erudite group of people who watch the Summitcast, and I know that you've got some great insight on this. But I have some thoughts, but I want to hear what you have to say. The Spirit of God lives in you, and I know you've got things that the Lord gives you, and this is how one way the body edifies each other. By sharing your thoughts and comments, you can bless somebody else. Now, you could choose to be silent and just listen in and read everybody else's comments, but we want to hear from you. There's nothing stupid that you could say, all right? Anything that you share will not be looked upon as stupid, or you don't have enough knowledge. Some people get into this thing, they don't think they have enough knowledge to make a comment. But we want to hear from you. I'm going to give you the question in a moment, and I want to encourage you to respond to this. Then you don't have to. You can always just read everybody else's comments, but I want to challenge you to share as well, okay? So we can get a lot of comments on there, and I believe you'll be blessed by the exchange, by the interaction among the Summit City members, okay? And by the way, make your comments Twitter-like, 140 characters or less. Now, I'm not going to count. I don't want you to count or get paranoid about it. Just keep the comments short and sweet. Don't write a letter. Just a few sentences, a sentence, a couple words, whatever, okay? But just make them basically short, okay? Now, my question is, and I've been reading the Bible on the City. I love the way the City will read the Bible to you in a narrative form, and I like the reader. The person who's narrating is excellent. And in reading the story of Joseph in my Bible reading on the City, I thought about this tonight. Think about what Joseph went through. He was sold by his own family, his own brothers, into slavery. The people he sold, the people that his brothers sold him to, eventually sold him to somebody else, sold him to Potiphar, who was an officer of the Pharaoh. Okay? So, I mean, that wasn't the end of his hardship. He was sold into slavery by his own brothers. Okay. Then he finds himself in Potiphar's house, being a slave. And then while in Potiphar's house, he rose to the top. And he served, obviously, very well. And Potiphar promoted him. He had so much authority under Potiphar that Potiphar gave him charge over everything he had. In fact, Potiphar gave him so much authority and trusted him so much that Joseph didn't even, or Potiphar, excuse me, Potiphar didn't even have to make a decision other than the food that he chose to eat every day. Only thing, the hardest thing that Potiphar had to do, the only decision he had to make every day was what he wanted for dinner, what he wanted for breakfast or lunch. Do I want filet mignon or do I want lobster? Because everything else Joseph took care of for him. And eventually Potiphar's wife tried to hit on Joseph. Joseph resisted her. He didn't want her. He didn't want to sin against God. All right? And he avoided her. But one time he got caught alone with her and she ripped his clothes off. He ran out of the house. She accused him of rape. She told her husband, told the servants about it. Joseph ends up in prison. Unjustly, he didn't do it, but he didn't have any witnesses. They threw him in prison. So he's in prison for something he didn't even do. So, and check this out. While he was in prison, he rose to the top. The man in charge of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners. He ended up running the prison. So here's my question. What kind of guy, let me put it this way. Here's what I want to say. What kind of character does this guy have? Or let me state it better. What types of character traits, what character traits did Joseph have to get through the things that he went through? Because there's much we can learn to help us with anything that we're dealing with in life in the story of Joseph. Now, this is the point I want to make. Because if we can parse out his life and start to meditate, I want to encourage you to meditate on the things that he went through. And meditate on his life. And see what we can glean from that to help us in whatever we face in life. Do you follow me? So my question is, what stands out to you? What comes to your mind? Just mention one or two things that stand out the most to you in Joseph's story. I think about, here's some things. Now I'm going to give you more than 140 characters, but just to jumpstart you. I would think he would have to have all the fruit of the Spirit working for him. Because no matter where Joseph found himself, in slavery, in the pit, he went from the pit to the palace. He ended up serving Pharaoh and being second in command under Pharaoh. All right. He was the second, ended up being the number 2 man in the whole land under Pharaoh. That's where he wound up. But he started in the pit. But he had a dream. Wow. God gave him a dream. And he never let, here's something I think about with Joseph. He never let go of the dream. He always rose to the top of wherever he was. He had to have the fruit of the Spirit in operation. He had to have love. He had to have joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness. I mean, he had to have patience, right? He had to have peace. He had to persevere in difficult times. I think about what if he would have quit? What if he would have got bitter? He never got bitter, but he got better. He kept getting better. No matter what situation he found himself in, he rose to the top level. Now I want to close with this. What are your thoughts, okay? Tell me what your thoughts are. I wish this was a radio call-in show where we could just have a dialogue. Because I would love to to have that kind of interaction. And eventually on these summer casts, I'm going to have some guests, invite some guests to come in and join me. I've got my studio almost set up to where I can have guests and we can talk back and forth. I want to leave you with this scripture in Hebrews 10. Therefore, do not throw away your confidence, which has a great reward, for you have need of endurance. Joseph had to have some endurance. He didn't throw away his confidence. He did what the scripture says here in Hebrews. He did not throw away his confidence in his dream. Wow. Because it has great reward. You have need of endurance. He had to endure, didn't he? The scripture tells us, for you have need of endurance, that when you have done the will of God, you may receive what is promised. Hold on to your dream. Persevere. Let me hear from you. What are your thoughts about Joseph? What are your thoughts about what he went through? Let's talk about it. Make it an Ephesians 3:20 day.